Hi guys. Well, I haven't done anything like the amount of astrology that I usually do in the last few weeks. I'm busy in certain areas of life, so there we go. I haven't said much about Mercury retrograde, but it's actually about to end in the next few days. So let's have a look at things. I'm doing this now on Sunday the 28th of July 2019, so the moon is actually in Gemini at the moment. It's a sort of big out there time in social terms. You know, people are sociable, cheerful, and a lot of quick-wittedness around as well. Anything to do with kind of studying, intellectual things to do with thoughts, broadening the mind really, is really favoured under a Gemini moon. So that goes on, and then tomorrow at 12:30 midday we get moon in Cancer, and then things change a little bit. It's more emotional, you know, people's vulnerabilities come out more, that kind of thing. Then on Tuesday, Wednesday at 18 minutes past 2 in the UK afternoon, 8 hours before that Pacific, 5 hours before that Eastern, we get a Leo moon, and that sets the scene for the new moon, which is going to be a nice lucky new moon in Leo, coming in at 4:11 a.m. on Thursday, or actually 11:11 p.m. On let me see, on the east side of the States and Canada, 11:11 p.m. on Wednesday, and another five. I can't do the sums, guys. Sorry, another 5 hours before that on the Pacific coast. So Wednesday or Thursday, wherever you are, we get into this Leo new moon, which is a really positive new moon to be in. At exactly this, well, not exactly the same minute, but, you know, pretty much the same time, pretty much the same day, Mercury retrograde comes to, essentially to its end. Right, it's the direct station, and it's late on, late on Wednesday the 31st of July, sorry. Yeah, start again. It's late on Wednesday the 31st of July in the States and Canada. Very early, I think it's 4:18 a.m. here in UK on the 1st, Thursday the 1st of August 2019. Now after that, we actually go on for another fortnight of post-shadow phase, when we can be learning lessons and things can be tricky and difficult and awkward. But generally speaking, it's much less tricky, difficult and awkward than it's been through the Mercury retrograde time itself. And we start getting answers to things. We start understanding why things have happened the way they have. Let me take a look at a couple of other things that are happening next week. And I have to admit, I'm using my book here because, I'm trying to get YouTube to work, and it's really impossible. So look, this is what I'm using. Llewellyn's 2019 Daily Planetary Guide. It's an excellent read, this, actually, very good. Although we're halfway through the year. But if you're getting one next year, I'd get this one. It's really good. So what have we got? Right, now then, there are two things going on with Uranus in the next week, actually, two conflicts, and they both bring different situations, different strings of feelings into situations, which are likely to have the effect of maybe altering things a bit, changing things a bit. So what's the first one? Monday, actually. Yes, Monday, July the 29th. That is tomorrow, as I'm doing this on Sunday the 28th. Uranus makes a really challenging square to the Sun. It's Uranus square the Sun. This just, more than anything, produces kind of uncertainty and uneasiness. You could almost say endogenous depression. I was talking about that the other day in a video somewhere. There's a kind of depression that people get, and there just aren't any triggers for it. There are no reasons for depression anyway, by the way. It's a clinical thing, you know. But endogenous depression, there's not even anything that you could really say would trigger it. It just happens. A lot of people have been going through things like that. It's generally speaking on its way to easing in terms of astrology. The feel-good factor is coming in more and more at the moment, particularly, right, the new moon in Leo is going to be nice and lucky. It's a really promising one. Also, because, you know, Mercury retrograde ends the same day. It's just brilliant, isn't it? But yeah, uneasiness and uncertainty, and we're actually headed towards that now. That's the applying aspect today, Sunday the 28th of June, when I'm doing this video. No, it's not. It's the 28th of July. I keep trying to give myself an extra month, you see. What more can I do? Okay, so anyway, right, the next thing that then happens, because now I've turned back so many pages because I keep thinking it's June. Let's find July again. The next thing that happens with Uranus is actually on Friday, so it's right at the other end of the week, Friday, August the 2nd. And then, what's it going to do? Uranus is going to square Venus, Right, so relationships and finances kind of become mysterious, you know. Uranus is a very far-flung planet. It's right out there in the outer solar system. And, you know, like, for example, all the planets go retrograde. When Uranus goes retrograde, it's not like when Mercury goes retrograde. And that's not what's happening here anyway. But what I'm saying is, as we say different strokes for different folks, there are very different strokes for different planets. So we get this uneasiness, really, coming in on Monday. And then it possibly spreads to relationships and finances on Friday. But by then, people will be a lot more realistic about it, because people will have gone through this week of rather hyped up feelings and be starting to get wise to it. So it's not such a bad thing anyway. Right, so the main news, I think, is Mercury retrograde ending. I guess it depends who you are and what the situation is in your life. But that has gone on actually since the Thursday the 20th of June was when we entered the pre-shadow, and there's a shadow either side of it. It's been just about all of this July, though, that Mercury has been retrograde. It's been retrograde since Sunday the 7th, still retrograde now, and as I was saying, it absolutely finishes on Thursday the 1st. Then we've got the post-shadow till the 15th, and things are generally getting less mysterious, you know. Circumstances tend to get more friendly. People get less concerned and worried about things. It's all looking pretty good. Mercury is kind of still in Cancer, though, as it ends the retrograde period, so tricky feelings around it, but a massive release of pressure. That's the best way to describe it. Let's have a look at what else is happening. Let me see. Wish my tablet would respond. It never would, and it still never will. Sun square Uranus today. Leaders, authorities struggling. Well, gosh, I listened to the news a few days ago. It said that Boris Johnson was going to win and be the UK Prime Minister, and I just never want to switch my radio on again, just in case the news comes on and I hear yet more disturbing stuff like that. But there we go. He won't be having it easy, old Boris, I'll say that. Disruptions, strikes, disputes, controversy coming up. A lot of kind of challenging things going on. Jolts, upsets. All really tricky time. It's not a really good time for doing anything where you're trying to keep everything under wraps and keep everything kind of quiet and calm, which our world leaders are struggling to do at the moment. But the answers aren't coming the way they're looking for them. The answers are coming. It's just going to be a longer game than we think. Moon is opposite Jupiter today. It's optimistic, but things can get a bit overblown, you know, so keep it real. Mercury opposite Pluto at this moment. This can make people kind of blurt out the truth when they've been trying to kind of cover things up and they get fed up with it. Things can come to a head like that. Really quite tricky. Again, challenging situations, people being eliminated from things, exclusions going on. And generally speaking, disruptions, possibly even in the weather, although it's a beautiful, peaceful day here in West Wales, up in the skies there, nice and sunny. But there we are, we've got two levels of kind of quite complicated, turbulent things coming up in some areas of life, mostly around leadership, possibly in terms of communication, because as good as the Mercury news is, it isn't actually out of retrograde completely yet. It just very nearly is. So, looks like a good week ahead to me. Lots of pressure being released, lots more happy people going around, I hope, because it's just going to be that bit less difficult to see the good, to see the positive, to see the truth in things. Okay, so on that note, have a fantastic week, friends, and I'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.